Hi, I'm Natalia Nicholson, founder of Women in Digital Business, where we empower underrepresented women to thrive in the digital world. So, welcome to Funnel Mastery. So, this masterclass is brought to you by Women in Digital Business. My name is Natalia Nicholson, and we are looking at designing a funnel that works for you. So today's session is just really understanding more about the funnel. Sometimes people hear this terminology, a sales funnel, a digital funnel, a user journey, even when we just think about digital marketing. And a funnel, really simply put, is just a framework that you build out digital marketing campaigns. The world we operate in has changed so much. We don't see each other in the same room as much as we did. And not only that, we've got a lot of different communities, tribes, and places that we can hang out with, people that we connect with. Gone are the day where you have to be a part of the masses. You can be a part of a group that you identify and connect with, meaning that it's easier to find people, but it's harder and more resources to actually reach them because there's so much more channels in today's day and age. So before we get started, introducing myself, Natalia Nicholson. So for those of you that don't know me, I am a digital strategist. Do you know what it is? I want to sneeze. It's gonna feel so much better. So I am a digital strategist. I'm also a speaker. I've spoken globally, and I really have helped hundreds of women build automated businesses through high converting funnels. And really it's to find their freedom and amplify their message. I'm really here to support Black female entrepreneurs, and we are in a time where we start businesses at the fastest rate than any other group, and we get the least support, and often the support that we get doesn't really extend to us really being able to level up. So I've made it a part of my mission to empower as many Black female entrepreneurs as possible and really teach them how to build funnels, because that's how you're going to get visible online. That's how you're going to get a business that's going to give you freedom and flexibility. We are in the digital age. There was a time 3 years ago where it's like, it's coming. Well, now it's here and it's here to stay. And the goalposts have definitely moved on how you find your customers online and how you present yourself as a brand. You can't just have a logo and a website anymore. It's so much more than that. The average consumer expects to see more than that, and it's what they're used to through the use of the smartphone and the fact that we've been on the internet for so many decades now. There is a framework of things that a customer expects to see of you as a business to be able to trust you, from your website to your social media pages, not down to even your email address. Not having an internet account that is a Yahoo, Gmail, or Hotmail, so important. You're going to break trust. There is a level of content of how the end user expects to see it. And they expect to see it formatted in a particular way to be able to trust you. And that's just branding. We haven't even started getting into, all the other things. So that's me. I absolutely adore the digital age and digital marketing, and I love building funnels. And more importantly, I love helping Black female entrepreneurs. I've been through a lot. Some of you might know me and have heard of my story. Some of you might not have. But all the things that I've been to in terms of fading my way to success, it's my mission to be able to give back and pass that gift on to other Black female entrepreneurs. So you don't have to go through what I've been through. And also you don't have to just accept what people are telling you to do that doesn't work. The strategies, the frameworks, what I teach, what I coach on, what I consult on, it works. You get the results. And rather than doing it to organizations that actually don't serve me and just keep promising me a seat at the table, I want you to enjoy your own seat at the table, as do I. So that's a little bit of an introduction about me. We won't go into it too much. But before we get started, let's have a little bit of a digital marketing check-in. So who are you? If you could just put your name in the chat and introduce yourself. If you're watching this on a replay, don't be shy. If you're watching it on a replay, it probably means that even if you're not watching the recording, you're on YouTube. So, give us a comment in the comment box. So who are you? What do you do? Love to know what you do. It's really important to us in our community to know what you do, our audience, as it means that we know who's in our community, and it means that we can put content and resources together that's really going to help you. And why are you here? What was it about this webinar, masterclass, whatever you want to call it, that I'm running today that made you think, oh, I'm going to go and check that out? And lastly, just let me know how you're feeling. Use an emoji. Are you happy? Are you a bit sleepy? Here in the UK, it's 9 o'clock. Are you a bit ticked off? Are you searching? However you're feeling at the moment, please do make sure that you put it in the chat. Let us know that you're here and you are present. So let's get started. Are you ready? I have just realized that I'm sharing screen. Okay, I've got no timer on, so those of you that know me know I can speak for England, so let's hope that I stick to the timing. So let's get started. So today's agenda, we're going to look at how to clarify your funnel's true purpose. Okay, we're going to look at the metrics that absolutely matter. Sometimes you can get lost in data and it can make no sense to you. We're going to simplify that today just by looking at the metrics that are going to matter the most to you and your business. We're going to look at your audience's deepest needs. If you can understand what your audience needs, it means that you can craft your offer, and it also means you can craft your messaging to be able to sell your offer. So we're going to look at your audience's deepest needs, and then we're going to complete the nurture roadmap. It's not enough in this day and age just to have a roadmap, a user journey, or all these levels of touch points where you're going to connect with people. You have to be able to nurture. Okay, without nurturing, it means you're taking the human element out of what we're doing in this digital age, and you just become a series of messages that sound familiar to people. How many of you scroll through your Instagram feed and there are particular ads that you just feel sold to? Because there's no human to human, there's no nurturing going on. And how many of you have been in situations where you, in your own business, go to use a process or a step of a number of touch points, a number of steps that actually is from maybe another community or somewhere else? You've got to put that nurture into it. And as women, we are natural born nurturers. So it just comes naturally to us. So let's get our heads around actually, digital marketing and where it's come from. A lot of people kept saying to me about 7-8 years ago, it's all about the information age. I'm selling all my real estate. I'm selling stocks and shares. We're changing, the world's changing. And I think we've been saying it for a while. And I would say in the last 3 years, it's not coming anymore, it's here. And especially with the rise of AI, I think digitalization is changing, it's evolving, and we need to look back in the past and look and remember how things evolved and changed. Because what happens when you do that is that you look back and you do think to yourself, I wish I'd have done X, Y, and Z. Hindsight can be a beautiful thing. But if you know that you've seen pattern and changes that have happened 10 years ago or 7 years ago, why would you not look at those trends and kind of look to see like, okay, if that's happened 7-10 years ago, and before then what happened another 10-7 years ago from there, we've got some indication of, okay, where could this be heading in the future? And what you want to be is the right side of digital, the right side of AI even. In the past, digital marketing just had one seat at the table. Many businesses had a marketing department, and everything was focused towards sales. And one thing I would say to you is that the funnel has been traditionally known as a sales funnel. Since digitalization, it changed into a digital sales funnel. And that word digital is really, really important. Because when we looked at when it was just marketing before it got digital, we had a whole marketing department. Then when digital marketing came on board, it was literally turned into this one-man band. Especially here in the UK, you've got a marketing manager that is, creating content for social media, creating web pages, putting together whole campaigns, email marketing, search engine optimization, doing some paid advertising, maybe doing some meta, search engine optimization, wanting to come to the top on the search engines, paid ads to make sure that you stay ahead of your competitors, tracking everything. And all of this new, the digital role of marketing just changed, and it was just like this one person at this one seat. That has absolutely changed now. So the goal of the session is to change that in your business, even as a solo entrepreneur, even as a small business. Marketing shouldn't just be a one-man band. And if it is, it's really important that we've got to put some automation into play. And you've got to make sure that you are really thinking to yourself, okay, how do I really get customers, get sales? Because what can happen, especially the coach and consultant, you put so much time into understanding, what your offer is. And, oh, sorry, people, I just need to, I've got this sign that keeps saying, let people in. There we go. Oh, I'm so sorry. Am I sharing still? No. Right, sorry about that. It said admit, and usually I can just admit, but I think where there was more than a couple of people, it kind of cut me out. So we was just talking about, digital marketing, just having that one seat at the table and how much the industry has actually changed. So the goal of this session is to really change that and understand that through automation and building funnels, you can actually have a whole team through automation, because one person can't do it all. To actually come up with your offering, understand who your audience is, come up with all your content assets, create your brand, and not in that order, because really you'd create your brand first. But to do all of that and do the sales and do the marketing, to think that one person can do all of that, it's too much. And that's why the digital in marketing is so important. The automation means that you can put together a marketing department and you can have a brand that echoes to your prospect, that you can be trusted. Because exactly what I said at the beginning of this class, people are looking for more to trust you. Okay, you can't just have that Gmail account or that Hotmail email address. They are looking to see things from you, to know whether, okay, is this a company, a business, or a person that I can trust? And then when you automate it, it means that you don't need all of those people. So digital marketing has blown up. There is no other type of marketing. Even when people say, oh, we just need a traditional marketing manager, it's changed. Sorry, I had to wet my throat there. How's it changed? Well, the digital advertising spend worldwide from 2018 to 2025. If you look, digital marketing has done nothing but gone up. And it's really funny. 2018 was kind of like the end of the heyday for the entrepreneur. So let's take a little trip down memory lane before we move forward, to get you to really understand how important it is for you to be able to sell online and understand the strategy of a funnel, because the world's gone digital. There is no more, it's coming. It's time to get innovative, and it's time for you to step out of comfort zones and really be able to find your space digitally online and be able to monetize. So 2017, 2018, you could do Facebook advertising. And I'm telling you, as a coach and consultant, you could be spending like $50 a day, $100 a day, and you would be able to convert and sell your program, even a high ticket program. If you had like a few hundred to invest every day, $500 to invest every day, anything between $5,000 and $1,000, you would have been in the 7-figure bracket. It was brilliant. Why? Because one of the things that will make digital advertising so appealing is that you can target with precision. So, in our community back then, we would have been able to say, we want to target women that follow Michelle Obama, have read her book, read Essence magazine, watch BET, just for example. Obviously, we target Black female entrepreneurs. And your ads would be placed in front of the very people that had interest in that. Okay. And now we say we're looking for business people. There could be, whether it's a Black business publication, maybe they follow Les Brown, maybe they follow Myron Golden, you would be able to target people based on their interests. That's what makes Facebook an absolute powerhouse. So for coaches and consultants, this was great, because you could really find your audience no matter how niche they were. Okay, up until that point, all the big boys and the big corporates, your Coca-Colas, your Pepsi, your McDonald's, your Burger Kings, they would generally advertise what would be called on primetime TV. So if there's a family show that comes on around 6 to 8 o'clock, the general assumption is this is when most masses are watching TV, families are watching together. So depending on the makeup of a family, that typical 2.4, all the people that are in that family, let's target them at that time because we can show them adverts. So up until, I would probably say about 2015, to be honest with you, possibly between 2013 and 2015, this is how the big boys would really advertise. Big billboards. Okay, if you're in Broadway, New York, London, no matter where you are, the subway, the train, big billboards everywhere. Newspapers, radio, it was all, back then it was all about traditional advertising. Then all of a sudden the big boys thought, hang on a minute, this Facebook thing, this social media things means if we can target our audience precisely, we've got such a big target audience. Actually, if we segment them all, what we'll be able to do is we'll be able to target them and we'll be able to make much more profit. So they all ran from traditional marketing into digital advertising. And that's why you've seen it do nothing but go up. And what they did was they drove the solo entrepreneur out of the market because they pushed the price of advertising up. And since, we haven't looked back, digital advertising has just got bigger and bigger and bigger. There's more channels. There is, celebrities, there are influencers, there are people that have found a voice online. So the early adopters into really social media, that you look at Instagram, there are influencers that have got millions of followers because they were they were an early adapter. They were on that phase from the beginning. So digital marketing has taken over. We are in the digital space. So for anybody to say, you know what, I don't need to run my business like that, I don't need to change anything. Sorry, for me, it's Blockbusters and Netflix. Blockbusters, we used to be on high streets. Anybody watching this that might not be the age to remember, Blockbusters was a video store that used to hire videos out so you could watch movies in the comfort of your home. When Netflix went to Blockbusters, they laughed Netflix out of the door. At first, it was Love Film, which was a DVD that turns up in the post. It adapted. If you think about, we have been adapting for this digital age for a while. We went from CDs to MP3s. Now all of a sudden we've either got a Spotify account or an Amazon Music account or an Apple Music account, and we stream music. So really just think, all of this has happened in a very short space of time. 2017, Yahoo fell off as a search engine, Google controls 92% of the marketplace. Why? Because a lot of its competitors like Yahoo did not adapt to the digital age. When the smartphone first really came about, they didn't adapt their search engine for the smartphone, which means they lost majority of their market share. So digitalization isn't, coming, it isn't just happening. It's come, it's stayed, it's staying here, and now we've actually gone on to AI. So now we've got to look at doing things a lot differently. We've got to set our businesses up a lot differently. We need to be visible online. The opportunity here though is we can now do what the big boys do. You can be a solo entrepreneur or someone with a really small team, and you can appear a lot bigger than what you are if you understand and know what you're doing. But gone are the days where it's just a website and a logo and you can just knock something up and you're going to get people's trust. You cannot do that anymore. So in this webinar, we're really going to explore how to build funnels out and how to bring your business into the digital age. And if you're in it already, how to really look to figure out how do you scale it? How do you grow? Because the thing that what we've got now in this digital age is intelligence. We've got data. The intelligence we've got gives us the ability to understand exactly how we're going to get to where we're going. You're going to have to test, but now when you test something, you haven't got to wander around in the dark anymore thinking, oh my God, is it going to work? The years I've spent with that, please God, please make it work. Please make it work. Please make it happen for me. There's a lot of tools out there now that it means that, you haven't got to be doing that. But a lot of people don't understand what a funnel is. And most funnels that entrepreneurs build, they fail. And they usually fail because there's no clear objectives. Many times as an entrepreneur, you've got that fear and you've got that desperation. That fear and that desperation means you haven't got clear objectives. You just want to go from where you are now straight to the win at the top and kind of feel like we're entrepreneurs. We all do it, including me. We feel like we're invincible. It's like we're the superhero. I'm just going to do it because I've got the will. And there's nothing wrong with that. When you haven't got a clear objective, you're not working in a strategic manner. So no clear objective just means that you can wander. It means that you can go from trying one thing to another thing. Oh my God, I heard a podcast is the way to go. Oh my God, did you hear about Clubhouse? Oh my gosh, LinkedIn really likes videos now. I'm going to start doing more videos. But did you see YouTube? YouTube loves a short. I could keep going. So what happens is we're listening on the internet, we're in all these communities, we're listening to influencers, but what you've got to remember is everything you're listening to, you are actually in a funnel. You just don't realize it. So this is where you've got to figure out which funnels are serving you, and you've got to build a funnel out that's going to serve your audience. You need to have an objective. What is it that you want to achieve? What is it that you want your program to achieve? Okay, what is it that you want to achieve? And you have to think about you. Like, if your goal is to live mortgage free and be able to, you know, help others, but at the same time help your family, regardless of what your objects are, don't think that money's evil. Okay, you can still help people and still make money, but you've got to have an objective. Who do you want to help? How many people do you want to help? How much money do you want to earn? Where do you want to be in your own life? How do you want to help other people? Where do you want to get them to? It's really important that you've got a clear objective. And then what often happens, why most funnels fail, is the wrong metrics. If you've got an objective and you've got a plan, you've got to be measuring everything you do, because if you measure everything you do, you're going to know if you're on the right path. Athletes do it all the time. They will watch back their gains, and they will watch back, you know, if you're an athlete, whether it's games, whether it's running, they watch themselves back. They look to see, how can I get better? If you track everything and you're measuring everything, well, actually, think about it. You're going to know where you're going and know how you're going to get there. But a lot of times we set objectives, we don't have a KPI, a key performance indicator, a metric that's going to measure what we need to do for that objective to get there. So now you're looking at the wrong thing. So a lot of times when you're building out a funnel, you're so fixated on the sales, you forgot to think about, well, how am I going to make people aware of me? What impressions am I going to need to get? Okay, after impressions, what click-through, how many click-through rates do I need to get? How many leads do I need to get to turn that into a sale? You've got to be looking at the metrics that aligns with the objectives that you've set. You know, a lot of funnels fail because of a weak offer. You know, we've put this program together, we've got this brilliant thing that we've put together, but we haven't quite aligned it to the right customer segment. We haven't aligned it to our target audience. We haven't really thought, what do they need here and now that's going to change their life to make them want to buy from you? Okay, it's got to be something that gives immediate effect. So a weak offer. And I'm always saying to people as well, if you're just going to sell one individual thing, you are up against all the other competitors of what you do. If you bundle and you've got an offer, that's what's going to differentiate you. Generic messaging. This is where for sure I fell down so many times. Trying to target everybody. And when you target everybody, you target nobody. Because think about it, ladies. I always use this as an excuse because a lot of us like our homes. A lot of female entrepreneurs are actually quite homely people. If you wanted to invite someone in to do work on your house, let me just admit, there we go. If you had someone who was decorating in your house and they came along to give you a quote, and you had someone that was a decorator, they also specialise in interior design, were quite happy to give you ideas, had a whole load of photos and portfolios specifically for your style of house. Maybe you live in like a period building, that's what we call them here in England, that's Victorian or Georgian, and they specifically always do your type of house up. Or you've got someone that, I do a bit of painting here and there. I do houses, I do apartments, I work in buildings. And then you've got someone that only works commercially in warehouses and offices. Does that make any sense? If you're messaging and when I find you, you're telling me that you do houses just like mine, and you've got a portfolio of people saying that you're absolutely brilliant, and I'm looking at reviews and looking at pictures and they look just like my house, it feels specific to me. Because it feels specific to me, it means that actually I feel far more connected to you because I feel like you're going to do a good job. So when you're trying to put messaging and content and copy together that is connecting masses of people and it's generic, it doesn't hit anybody because it's generic. It has to be specific. Okay, and the final reason why most funnels fail as well is the goal. It's missing that nurture strategy. And what I mean by that nurture strategy is missing that human to human. I can see it so much, especially when I'm on Instagram, where I can tell that people have used a swipe file, or they've taken something from someone, or they're on a video and it's really obvious that video has been really scripted. What's the most famous lines that I've heard? The famous lines that I've heard is, And, you know, if you don't invest in yourself, you know, how are you going to even get to where you want to be? You have to invest in yourself. I see the NLP all over it. Or you'll hear someone saying, you know, if you are this person and if you are that person, well, why don't you do? And it's like listening to someone reading the news, because it's not a nurturing sequence. It's not real. It's not connecting with people. There's no passion. There's no oomph. Okay, you can just see it's like it's scripted. And a lot of this happens as well when people are often taking things from, or in a program or in a community, and they're taking things from someone that says, use this structure. If you just follow it down to a T, it will work. The problem is your end user is not a robot. They have emotions. And your job is to really be able to connect with people and those emotions. So that's the reason why most funnels generally fail in most situations. And to really get success from a funnel, you really want to think of, you know, 5 things. And we call it the crown strategy because they call me the funnel queen. So we use the crown strategy, which is clarity, results, offer, woman, nurture. Okay? And clarity is making sure you are clear. Quite often when we start a business, especially in the Black community and Black female entrepreneurs, we have maybe a certain amount of money. We've got a time limit to when the business has got to take off. There's a lot of other pressures that will surround having a business. So when you launch marketing, you tend to want to try and do everything because you'll think to yourself, well, one of them's got to hit. And the problem is you've got no clarity. You're not being specific. And this goes right back to our college and university days of really tapping into those SMART objectives. You know, is something specific? Is it measurable? Is it attainable? Is it realistic? And can it be done in the time that you've got? So clarity is clear. Clarity is clear for you, and it's also clear for your end user. You've got to be clear. Messaging, I would say, was the biggest thing that I struggled with, this C right here. Because I kept looking at things from my perspective and my point of view. And you need to be able to have clarity. You need to be clear. You need to be able to close your eyes, and you need to be able to say, yeah, I know exactly how I'm going to get from a point A of where I am to point B. Clarity is really, really, really key. You know, you've got to base everything on the results. Just by saying, you know, we got some great views, we're nearly there yet, but then you've got no click-through rate, you've got no leads, and you've got no sales. The results aren't great for you, especially if you set a certain amount of KPIs and you want to reach somewhere in a particular time. So you've really got to be results driven. To be results driven, you've got to be data driven. You want the results. So if you need the results, you need to set those KPIs. If you're saying, I want a community of 1,000, and in that community of 1,000, I want to convert or 20% selling my entry point offer, which is X amount. For you to understand that you're going to get that, you have to be able to understand what are the results at each touch point that I'm going through. You've got to put your KPIs together. You've got to measure what you're doing. You've got to measure every step of your project, every step of your campaign. Are we getting the results that we need to be able to get to where we want to be? And if we're not, we look at the data and we figure out what is it that we need to change. Really important. Oh, sorry, I was just looking in the chat, I was being nosy. Your offer, big one again. You know, as a coach and a consultant or a speaker, we know what our offer is. That's the very first thing that most of us put together within our business. But the problem is that we haven't really thought, what is the offer that our prospect needs? What is the offer that the end user needs? It's so important. And like I said, if you've just got one product or service, the problem with that is that you are now up against everybody else in your marketplace. When you have an offer and you have a bundle and you have a package put together and you really think about the customer life cycle, it puts a whole different spin on it. You know, woman, target audience. You know, our target audience are women. So that's why I call this one women. But your women is looking at, okay, you know, who am I targeting? What authority do I have to my target audience? And being really clear around, yes, you've got your target audience, but who are the segments within your audience? And that nurture piece, that adding that human to human, it's really, really important. Like I said, this actually comes naturally to most women, by the way, because we are natural born nurturers generally. And it's just being able to put that human to human in. I don't want your funnel to feel very robotic. Please, you know, to sign in, join our webinar, or what's the classic one? Do our cheat sheet. And then you're just being sold these things where you feel sold to, that you've seen on the internet before. When you nurture, you come from a place of authenticity. You come from a place of vulnerability. When people see that, people buy people, and they will come to you to be nurtured. You haven't got to convince them of it. So understanding who you're selling to is really, really key. So, we put our funnel success strategies into CROWN. And that's the framework that keeps us grounded. It grows our clarity, and it means we get the results. So you really want to, clown your clarity. What is the one result I want this funnel to deliver? And that you've got to ask yourself this question. So a lot of people, when they're building funnels, will often think, they'll often think it would achieve many, many, many things. You need a funnel per the result that you want. Okay? So you've got to decide, okay, what is it that I want my funnel to deliver? Am I in a place where I've got some awareness, but actually I've got no leads and I haven't got an email list? And that is really important. So whether it's email, whether it's a phone list, a WhatsApp group, in this day and age, it isn't just email. But having a list means you have direct contact to people that will buy from you. So growing a list is key. So maybe you want to get the result of, growing your personal email list by 1,000. Maybe you've got leads, but they're not converting. Maybe what you really want to do is book 50 discovery calls in 60 days. Maybe you want to set yourself a challenge. It could be that you want to sell out a digital course with 30 signups. Each one of these would require a funnel. And once you've got clarity in what you're doing, you will be shocked at, it just comes naturally, how much more easier creating a funnel is. It's not as complicated as you think it is. So you want to make sure you write clear and measurable objectives. Okay? Really important. So think about it. Even now, think about it. I want you to even jot it down. When you write things down, you move with intention, by the way. What I want you to literally write your clear, measurable objective down. What is your metric? What is your metric? What is your objective? Sorry, getting tongue-tied there. And you want results based on KPIs. So how will you know if your funnel's working? Well, to be fair, ladies, if you wanted leads, you want to know what, the cost per lead is. If you've got a lead and each lead is costing you, $50, and what you sell is $40, that's not cost effective. As creative as a funnel can be, because you've got the design and you've got the content and it's a marketing strategy, actually the funnel makes you tap into the maths, because you've got to make sure that the maths on every single level matches for you to be able to break all the levels within your funnel. Okay, so if you've got a lead funnel, you want to get your cost per lead down, and you want to make sure you've got an opt-in rate and conversion. So next it could be, a sales funnel. You want revenue. What's your return on ad spend? If you're spending money on advertising, how much money on advertising do you have to spend to be able to get an actual sales? How much money does your business sell in that whole process, from pushing traffic into a funnel, having them into your funnel, and maybe having them in some type of list that you've got until they've actually converted? Okay, what is your return on ad spend? How much money are you spending on ads, and how much do you convert? Okay, booking funnels. So it might be that you need a funnel to book calls, discovery calls, group calls, whatever the case you want to be. Okay, that you need to figure out, okay, how many calls do I need? Out of those calls, if I convert on 10%, and the product that you're converting on, how much it is, that's going to let you know, okay, this is my target. Funnels force you to get mathematical. It isn't just about creativity. So the results are based within the KPIs. And again, you've got to have that perfect offer. What are you selling? Why does it matter now? And I tell you why that one's so key. If you cannot articulate what you're selling and why it matters now to your prospect, it means that there'll be no urgency. And it means that your prospect will feel like, okay, I'll just come back to you anytime. What is it that you fix in their lives that's so precious to them that they need to address the matter with you now? And that's really what your perfect offer should do. What transformation do you promise? Do you promise, have you got a 6-figure coaching program, and you're going to say, I guarantee you'll get to 7 figures in 6 months? Okay, what transformation do you promise? So you've really got to think when you're putting your offer together, does my offer solve a real urgent problem. And if it doesn't, you might want to rethink what your offer is. Okay, something that I've done again many times. Know your queens, know your audience. Who are you serving? What are their demographics? Demographics being their age, their income bracket, where they live, location. These are the core elements of business that we've been taught. But it's also the psychometrics. It's also all about empathy mapping. It's all about thinking, okay, what does my audience see, hear, feel, touch? What do they believe? What's their blueprint in life? What is their mantra? What do they believe in terms of good versus evil? Okay, so the psychometrics are really key, especially in this day and age. I think it's very much changed nowadays in terms of people don't want to be put in boxes just with the demographics. So, know your queens, emotional triggers and communication styles. What are the triggers? One of the things is how you're going to connect with people is through content. So within your content, what emotional triggers are you trying to trigger? What's your communication style? That should be a part of your brand kit and your brand voice. Okay, what's your audiences in the segments? What's their fears? What's their desires? So, for example, I help Black women coaches who feel invisible online to get constant clients. Because a lot of us Black female coaches often feel like we're not seen or heard until we're put into a place or a room by someone that we feel is better or worthy. And that's what validates us, rightly or wrongly. And I'm not saying that's everyone, but definitely for me, I always felt like I had to behave a different way to who I actually was just to be visible. I felt like I had to play some type of game. I felt like I couldn't just walk into rooms and be authentically me in a lot of my different environments. So I definitely used to feel invisible. And maybe you felt like that too. Maybe you didn't. But either way, it's really key that you understand and you get to know who is your audience. And you want to map your nurture path out. What steps does my audience need before saying yes? And you're going to map that journey out. You're going to have an opt-in. Then you're going to need some email series on someone's opted into something because you've got their details and you want to nurture them. Then you've got to follow up. Then it might be you want to send them to a sales page. On that sales page, they've got all the information they need. Then you might want to close. So you want to map out all the steps that your prospect, not somebody that's interested in you, you're going to map out every single step, and your job is to push them from one of those steps to another. And essentially that's what a funnel is. You just work from the top of it down. Because think how a funnel works. You pour water into it, it's a big hole at the top, it gets narrower and narrower and narrower until it comes out the other end. We want to see some gold coins coming out the bottom end for you. So it's workshop time. Okay, so what I want to do is before this session ends, I just want to give you 2 minutes. Okay, if you want to go get a pen, a paper, your phone, please go ahead and do so. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of an activity. Hey Beverly, I will definitely be giving more info on how to create a funnel, and if anybody else would like to know how to create one, just pop it into the chat. But this is giving you an idea today of exactly, how we're going to go about that. So I want 2 minutes. And what I want you to think about is I want you to think crown. Okay, think of the framework that I just went through. And I want you to write where you are right now. What is your objective? What metrics would you have to measure to see if you're getting closer to that objective or how to get to that objective? What's your core offer? Like, what's the main thing that you offer? And what is your ideal audience? So I just want you to take a couple of minutes out to do that exercise. So we're going to be interactive today. This isn't just a webinar of me talking at you. We're going to do some work. So 2 minutes. It's on the screen and I'm going to be quiet, as difficult as that is for me. And by the way, guys, feel free to share in the chat what you came up with. Sharing is caring. And a lot of the programs that we run here at Women in Digital Business, it's all about support. It's all about community. It's all about helping one another. And as Black women, generally, we do that very well. So I'm not sure what you had on your piece of paper. Like I said, feel free to put it in the chat. But a lot of times we can have too many objectives. You've got to pick one. A funnel will generally solve one objective, and it's not the same every single time. That's why when you build a funnel, anybody that says to you, follow my framework and you'll be fine, you can't, because every framework is going to be completely different based on where you are within your business, the model of your business, your target audience, how many segments are in that target audience, and how you plan to get from point A to point B, which is strategy. So it's impossible to say, oh my God, this is a framework that you can follow within a funnel. Okay, so Claudette says to raise investor funds. Okay, brilliant. So Claudette knows that she's just got one. Natasha, sorry, I just got your message. I just joined. So Natasha, there will actually be a replay. So what I would say is make sure you watch the replay. But just quickly, this was the workshop that you did, I just asked everybody to write down, like, within their business at the moment, what's their objective? What are the metrics that they're measuring to make sure they can get to that objective? What's the core offer? What's the core thing that you offer? And who is your ideal audience? So these are the common mistakes, and I want you to avoid these pitfalls. So Claudette has said her objective is to raise investor funds. So the metric over vanity metrics over revenue metrics. So what I mean by that is a common mistake can be some businesses get really excited if they're like, oh my God, I got 1,000 views. A view tends to be, you could have been looking away from your computer and something popped up on your screen. So that's what I mean by vanity metrics. Impressions are great, don't get me wrong. But, you want to think about what are the metrics that are going to get us to revenue. So where Claudette has said to raise investor funds, obviously her main metric, her main goal is going to be revenue focused. Okay, but her target audience is actually investors, Claudette. So even though you're targeting a Christian audience, remember, you want to raise investor funds. So you want investors to give you the money. So actually your target audience is investors. Okay, what you're raising the money for might be for Christian audience, but essentially your target audience is actually people that would want to invest. So it's people that invest. And this is where sometimes there can be a bit of a conflict. It's a bit like Kellogg's. They market to children, but parents buy. So be careful of those vanity metrics. Generic offers for everyone. You need to make sure that your offer is geared towards your audience. Okay, really, really important. And when I say audience, you're thinking, duh, of course it's geared towards our audience. So I always give the example. If I was a business and I sold bags to mums, well, what type of mums am I selling bags to? Is it mums that have had newborn babies, so they need a nappy bag? Is it mums that have got toddlers and they got to get on the subway, so they need a bag where they can bring everything to it, but it's something that still looks good with their work stuff? Do you see, even that was just a simple thought process. But that's what I mean by when I'm saying generic offers for everyone. You want to be specific. So I might think to myself, well, a baby's born every minute, they say. So actually, I'm going to start my business off with nappy bags. Doesn't mean to say that I don't sell any other bags. It just means that I'm targeting one specific audience until I monetize and move on to the next. So often big mistake that a lot of solo entrepreneur make or small businesses make is that they have an offer, a market offer for everyone who is their target audience. Okay, the biggest mistake is skipping that nurturing sequence. That nurturing sequence is absolutely key. You know what I'm speaking to because you feel it yourself when other people sell to you, where you just feel like a number. You feel like, you're just being sold to. You feel like you're being convinced. Think about when you hear a story and you see yourself in a story, or you really resonate with someone, or you connect with someone. That's a nurturing sequence. They have thought about who you are and they've communicated in a way that you will connect. Not just, sending out swipe files or, things that are written by ChatGPT. And don't get me wrong, AI is pretty good. You just have to understand how to prompt it. And many people still don't know how to prompt it, so it sounds like AI. Okay? So, those are the 4 main reasons why people tend to not get it right with the funnel. They're pitfalls. You want to avoid them. Oop, I moved forward, then I moved back. So your crown map success. What you need to have is a crystal clear funnel objective. Sorry, I've got three screens, by the way, so I don't really want to see me. I'm looking all over the place. So your crown map success, you want to have a crystal clear funnel objective. You need to have success metrics that matter. How are you going to get there? What are you measuring to know you're on the right track and you're going in the right direction? And success metrics force you into data. Data means now you've got a map to guide you to be able to tweak, find the sweet spot and know what to do to fix things if your funnel isn't converting. Okay? You need to have crystal clear funnel objections. I'm going to say it again. And you've got to keep coming back to that, because sometimes your objective can change. If you change something in your offer, you change your customer segment or your audience, I'm going to be honest with you, what will happen is the funnel objective may change. You've got to have a success metric that matters, and you've got to have that strategic and nurture plan. Okay, so you need to be ready to build with purpose and not hope. And hopefully you're getting some insights into really understanding how funnel works. So Claudette, again, as for increasing my book royalties, a separate funnel, correct. Trying to offer the same things and explain things to people. We understand our own businesses, but when we're offering a number of things, what you tend to find is we start speaking gobbledygook. Sorry, I'm just letting some people in. We start speaking gobbledygook, and I call it gobbledygook because as entrepreneurs, we know our own business. We know our business model. So sometimes when someone asks us a question, or we're in a position where we feel like we're selling, we're doing everything all at once, and all that prospect can hear is gobbledygook, because they want to know what's in it for me. How are you serving me? It needs to be specific. Okay, the more and more that it's not specific and it's vague, that's when you'll lose someone. So you have to be ready to build with purpose and not hope. But definitely, Claudette, for each objective, you are going to need a different funnel. Sorry, I didn't go missing there. Oh, my battery's nearly about to run out. We don't want that. There we go. Oops, sorry guys. My mouse seems to be a little bit stiff today. So what we do is we put together a funnel mastery program. Queen of Funnels, just my nickname. I've been building funnels for years. So I really build funnels for a lot of corporate and business clients. And funnels is what changed my life when it came to my coaching business. For years, I was scrapping for leads, if you want me to be honest with you. I started off in the franchise business where I bought their content and I was delivering it. They were even giving me the whole structure of the keynote, telling me that back then it was hand leaflets out, do X, Y, and Z, get as many people to the keynote, then upsell them. When that didn't work, I thought, okay, I'm going to put together my own program. I started joining all these different programs, spent an awful lot of money. And again, they would say, follow this framework. And I'd get some customers, but I just wasn't getting to the level that I wanted to get to. It wasn't until I really understood and learned how to build a funnel, and that's really where I found my gift in life, if you want me to be honest with you, that I started to realize for you to be able to sell something and have an abundance, you're going to have to believe in it. So you may be having, what I did in the beginning, the franchise, or using a framework that somebody else gave you that you didn't actually create yourself. It means you're never going to speak from a place of fiction. You're never going to speak from a place of really believing it. You see people doing it, but all that self-doubt, that imposter syndrome, whatever you want to call it, the fear, it will creep in and it will get to you. When you plan something out yourself and you take the time and you're meticulous and you really strategize, you're left with this feeling of, okay, yeah, I know this is going to work, which gives you a whole different lease of confidence. So in 6 weeks, I put a program together with the exact same thing that I go into do in other businesses, but it's my mission now to help Black female entrepreneurs. We are just rocking it. I love my Black community, and, I just want to do everything I can to raise us up. We've been held back, and we're continue to be held back and watered down. We're not going to go into that. But it's really important, especially as women. A lot of us are being in environments or have clients that keep promising you this seat at the table, or keep giving you an incentive, tell you to hang on there, hold tight, and it just never comes. And I just feel that we're in a time, in this age, where actually, if you know and someone teaches you, you can build a business and operate like a 6-7 figure business from your own house. but it has changed. It's not just that simple as knocking up a website anymore. So the Queen of Funnel Mastery Program is 6 weeks. You are really going to learn how to clearly identify your ideal client. So you're going to nail your niche and get inside your ideal client's mind to create language that converts. Okay? You're going to attract and nurture with ease. You'll create an irresistible lead magnet and write opt-in copy that builds connection. Not just a run-of-the-mill, lead magnet that's a webinar, then someone gave you the template of what to say and what to do. Okay, this is about that nurturing, that human to human, really thinking about what do they need and being creative and thinking outside the box. This is where the creativity and funnel building comes in. It's really going to go through copywriting. You'll write story-led copy with emotional intelligence and map your funnel journey from curiosity from a prospect right the way through to conversion in great detail. Okay, and then you're going to have group reviews, hot seats. What I mean by that, this is where you're going to activate your CEO energy with live funnel reviews from me. You're going to build your funnels out. I'm going to tell you, well, have you thought about this? Are you sure about that? They're not coaching sessions. So what happens in this program is that every week you're going to get an online lesson. You watch your online lesson, you do your worksheets, but then you turn up within a group of 5 women who become your cheerleaders. And within that group, you have a 2-hour, and quite often it goes over 2 hours. You're going to have a 2-hour consultancy call where I'm really going to help you look at what you're creating every week and say, does that work? Have you thought about this? You want to create a funnel that just flows. That's what I call it. It just flows like water. You get that feeling of, this is the way that I'm going to go forward. You get the blueprint, you get an architecture plan. Okay? And that's where you really get the group reviews. So yes, it's online, but the consultancy that you get every week is second to none. It's no different to what I would do if I went into a corporate or a small business where I'm actually building their funnels out for them and I consult for them. I just now do it with a group of 5 women who are entrepreneurs to really make sure you create a funnel that's going to change your life and make a difference. And then you build your funnel in that 6 weeks without the tech overload. This is the week where the funnel gets done. So this is where we're going to give you a template and you're going to look at what software you're using and you are going to... sorry, I thought I had more in the waiting room. And this is where you're really going to use your software. What often happens with a lot of businesses, by the way, is you'll choose a software. And then when you've chosen your software, whatever plan you've had, if you can't figure out how to do it in the software, you change your marketing plan, aka the funnel, to match the software. It shouldn't be that way around. The software is meant to match your plan, not your plan matches. No, I've done it the wrong way around. Your plan needs to match the software. You shouldn't be changing basically anything in your funnel to fit into a software, because what happens is you take the nurturing out, you take the human to human out, and that human to human is actually what's going to make you win, but you just need to be really strategic with it. Okay, plus you just get so many exclusive bonuses. I don't hold anything back. Anything you need that I've got, it's yours. And what we do after the program is we continue to offer you that support, that if you want to have weekly drop-ins to weekly sessions to say, hey Nat, I'm struggling with this, what do you think about that? Because your job won't be done in the 6 weeks. You've got to set tracking up on it because the data is really important. And when you implement it, you kind of want to figure out what's working, what's not. At the end of the program, you will understand exactly how to build your funnel out. Some of you might feel like I'm going to get someone to do this for me, but you've got the blueprint. Others of you might feel I can do this. I've got this. I might just need a designer. Especially with some softwares, they give you a templated place where actually all you're now going to need is the software. Sorry, not the software. All you're going to need now is a designer. So the software will give you all the templates, but you need to drop in all your own design. So having the blueprint also allows you to be able to build a funnel at a fraction of the cost, because you can see exactly what skill set you need, what you might need to get in. You might be like, boom, I can do this myself. It might be that you get someone to do it, but if you get someone to do it, they can't charge you a ridiculous price because you now know exactly what you need, because you've got that blueprint and that architecture plan. But most of this you will do in the program. And most people that do this program actually go on to just need a certain element of help, where it's not so much help. Some people don't like design. Some people don't like, it could be a video funnel you put together. You might not want to do the editing because you're not an editor, which is fair enough. but you will be equipped to be able to build out a process that's really going to catapult you and get you visible online and get the objectives that you really need and want. Nothing wrong with wanting things. So the complete program is 6 weeks of intensive training. You've got 2 interactive online classes each week. So by that, they are online. Okay, and then you've got the weekly live Q&A. I'm getting tongue-tied today. You've got the weekly live Q&A sessions for a personalized guidance, and it's consulting and coaching. So you get everything you need to build a profitable online empire with absolute clarity and unwavering support. And there's so many bonuses of being a part of our community. And you've got a personal brand content plan. You've got access to our summit that's got over 100 masterclasses and bonus books. There's a lunch and learn that we run every single Tuesday. Within our community, we've got a number of resources, playbooks. It might get to a point where you want to do some Facebook advertising. There's playbooks that we've got for you. In September, we're launching a number of programs, from how to do SEO to social media to community management to digital advertising to Facebook advertising to YouTube advertising. Because once you've built your funnel, you've got to drive traffic to your funnel. And as much as we touch that in the program, some of you might be using different channels, and you don't need to learn the whole discipline of digital marketing. You might just need to be an expert at 2 or 3 channels. So the journey just doesn't stop with the program. There is an unwavering support that happens even after the program exists. So thank you very much for today. And what I have got for you today is a gift, and I'm going to put it into the chat. So some of you might know me from the summit, but this Queen, I'm going to put this link in the chat. This actually goes through exactly what the Queen of Funnel, our funnel mastery program is. You've got our reviews from people who've done it. Those of you that might be in the summit, we've actually attached a version of this program in it. But to do that 6-week program with us, it's usually $1,497. And just so you know, I would charge my corporate clients anything from $3,500 to $5,000. And even then, I am very competitive and cheap within the marketplace at that price, which is how we get the amount of clients that we get, because we're good at what we do. Today, I'm going to give you $1,000 off. Okay, so that means that you can get onto this program for just $497. Okay, today only. You've got a couple of days, so I'm going to put a discount code in the chat. For those of you that are, it's something, if you're interested, it's something you're either ready for or you're not. I'm going to be quite frank for you. Either you're really frustrated, you want to reach that next level, you want to be able to get the sales. When I look at funnel programs, even to get a funnel agency in, to build a funnel out with even a freelancer, even if you've got a quote from somewhere like Upworks, you're looking around starting point of $10,000 if it's someone that's going to do it properly and actually build everything out, do all the automation. And remember, if you don't know what you're doing, now you've got someone building something for you. It's a bit like a car mechanic that you don't actually understand to do yourself. So Princess, if you're here, you did give me the code. I just don't happen to have it to hand at the moment. Let me get it for you guys, because we actually did a code. There we go. I don't know how I forgot that. Goldfish brain. It's actually October, as in come on. Sorry, it's these screens. If you saw my computer, I've got so much screens opened. But here we go. Done it. All waiting room participants. I want to give it to everyone in the meeting. There we go. So that is the discount code in the chat. We don't keep this offer open because it is just a complete and utter no-brainer price. And sometimes I just find with our community, people can devalue and not take us up on our offers, and they don't really understand the amount of value that I'm giving away. But we're on a mission. We are going to help as many Black female entrepreneurs that we possibly can and really get them to that level using strategies that all the big corporations and companies that are turning over 7 figures are using day in, day out. This concept is not new to them, but no one wants to teach us this in business school or on a business program, in an institutional educational program. So you've got $1,000 off for the next 3 days. So if you're serious, you want to get your business to where it is, simply just click the link, and it would help if I gave you the link, wouldn't it? I've given you a discount code, but I've given you no link. You will get this on replay, by the way, as well. Obviously, we're on a Zoom recording, so you will get this on a replay. Right, I have started exactly an hour ago, so my time is up. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to put in the chat, or feel free to just come off mute. And it's okay if you don't, by the way. Oh, I've got one in the chat, actually. Oh, let's read. Would love to learn more about how to create a funnel. Well, Beverly, you've got that link there. Reach out to us if you've got any questions whatsoever. So I've just put our email address in. Make sure I spelled everything right. Brilliant. So I've just put our email address in if you've got any questions. Yeah, so Beverly, reach out if you've got any questions. Nadia, same. You've got here how to create a funnel. Feel free to reach out with any questions that you might have, or just join the program. And we've got a cohort. Our next cohort, by the way, starts on the 28th of August. Okay, and there's literally 1 or 2 spaces left on it, and I'm not just saying that. Oh, Maya just entered the... So yeah, next one, let me put that in the chat. Next cohort, 28th of August. So you've got the page that tells you all about Queen of Funnels. You have got the discount code to get the $1,000 off. And I think there's one more message in here. Hey, Nadia, a nutritionist and on my journey to IBCLC in Uganda. Ooh, Africa in the house. Love it, love it, love it. My current objective is to increase sales from 10 to 20 per month. So you want to double. Okay, that's achievable. And don't forget, Nadia, you can double in very many different ways. You can double it by pricing. You can double it by the amount of customers that you're going to get. And you can also double it with the amount of frequency. So those are just some marketing strategies, full stop, even without the funnel, as a little tip for you. Success metrics is a number of subscribers, antenatal and lactation, pre-menstrual and postnatal consultation, and support services. Brilliant. Ideal audience is pregnant mothers. I love a niche like that because it's just so clear, which makes them easier to find. There's so many communities. I believe that's an audience that you can achieve even without paid advertising. Well done, Nadia. I hope you found today useful. So everyone, that brings us to the end of our session today. Like I said, if you do have any questions that come up, please do feel free to email us. The email's in the chat. Make sure if you're interested, you take a copy of the link to the funnel. A replay will be going out. For those of you that missed it aren't here anyway, but for those of you that were late and you might want to grab all of it. And again, I hope you found today useful. And if you did, please do put it in the chat and let us know what it is that you got from it. Right, no problem. I know some of you that were in the chat have left. Right, God bless you all. I've just slightly gone over my hour. I don't want to do that. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And like I said, any questions at all, reach out to us. But it's been an absolute pleasure. Let me also stop sharing screen. So, oh, brilliant. Thanks, Claudette. Your understanding of funnels. Great. That was the aim of the game. And thank you for having your camera on. I know at this time of day it's not possible for everyone, but sometimes it's nice to put a face to a name. I see some familiar names here as well, by the way. So lovely to have you here. And for those of you that were late and missed some of it, like I said, the replay will be sent out to you, and it's definitely worthwhile watching. Right, God bless everybody. Take care. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where you are. Take care. Bye-bye.